Hello everybody, my name is Dutchy, welcome to RPG Labs, and are you ready to rumble? Because if you guys are, then keep watching this video and you'll be able to learn every single one of the moves in the game. Now I'm going to be explaining all the moves a bit, but just to get it out of the way, all of these moves can be used in the air as well as they can be used in sprinting, and they can also be used while you're knocked down. Now, while you're knocked down, a lot of people are having trouble with actually getting back up and fighting again because the person keeps knocking them down without throwing something at them, or they just time their moves really well. But if you use some of these special abilities like the uppercut or that rocket that goes up in the air, you'll be able to get out pretty easily without them being able to do anything. Even if they throw something at you, it will usually miss. And one more thing before we probably start the video. If you try to grab someone and they punch you, you'll immediately be knocked out of the grab. Now, if you're punching someone while they're blocking, they will basically receive no damage and they'll have an opening at the end of your attack, meaning they can do whatever they want to you. But if they try to grab you and you're blocking, they're free to grab you and they can basically swing you around whatever they want. Now, if they're shining red, that means that they're going to be using a grab attack, and if they're going to be shining yellow or anything like that, that means that they're going to punch you or some physical form like that. And if they have a bubble around them, that means they are blocking. A lot of you guys probably already know this, but just for the people who don't. Alright, so I know you guys are most likely interested in the purple books more than anything, so I'm going to start off with the purple books. I would not gloss over the blue ones, because some of the blue ones are actually extremely good, and even some of the green ones are really decent. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is Skyrockets. This one is actually one of my favorites just because of a few things. One, you'll be able to launch yourself in the air quite high, so you can do one of your nice little ground pounds. And secondly, it gives you a double jump in midair as well, and actually triple if you get enough stamina. Now there are actually a few ways you can use this. The first way is to just use it quickly and jump up. Second way is to actually charge it up, but I would recommend also using this in midair, because like I said before, you can use it as a double jump. Now this tool is more for setting yourself up than it actually is for dealing a lot of damage. So what you would be doing, you would be setting yourself up above the enemy, and then you'll ground pound straight onto them, dealing a lot of damage, and especially if you get the height. I would highly recommend using this because it's really good to get the high ground, and in this game high ground can be king. It also takes priority over the grabs. Now the Omega Cyclone and the other versions of the Cyclone are really good at attacking a lot of targets at once. You can also charge this in the air, so in place of doing a ground pound, you'll be able to do this. But in my opinion, it's not that great. The thing is, a lot of people will see this coming after a little while, and they can just block it quickly and are able to quickly take you out. Alright, now let's move on to Giant Swing. Now Giant Swing is very similar to Cyclone, except it's a grab move. Now instead of you swinging around fully, you actually grab the target and fully swing around. Now just like the other move, this is actually really good against multiple people if you can pull it off. A lot of the time when you're actually fighting multiple people, you'll be hit. So just like over there, I would have been knocked out of that attack, even though I was trying to grab. Now we move on to Diamond Crusher. Now Diamond Crusher is a really fast grab move. I highly recommend using it in 1v1 situations, because if you're using it against multiple people, you'll most likely be knocked out of it. Because mid-animation, you can still actually get knocked out of it if they are fast enough. So just make sure that you watch out for that. But in a 1v1 situation, I really reckon this is a really good move. This is definitely something to keep an eye out for endgame. Now, I really like Cosmo Shot because what this does, it knocks the opponents up into the air and then you basically hit them straight back down. But the cool thing about this is mostly is that you'll be in the air, meaning that a lot of players who are trying to hit you will not be able to hit you because you are all the way up in the air. Now, I would highly recommend using this when you're actually near the water, because I feel like this is the best tool to knock people into the water. And if you get people into the water, that is a one-shot KO, no questions asked. Oh, and one more thing, this technically works against multiple targets, so if you can time it correctly, you can basically hit 2 targets at once. Now with Dolphin Dive, you dive towards the target and you deal a bit of damage, and that's really about it. It takes priority over grabs, but honestly, there are a lot better moves out there for you to use. Now honestly, I haven't actually tried Dolphin Dive too much, because every single time I pick it up, I'm not actually that great with it, and I just don't really like it in general. If there is actually something really special about Dolphin Dive that I didn't figure out, please comment and I will actually pin your comment to make sure that other people will see it. Very much appreciated if you do find something. Alright, on to the next one. Now, the Omega Uppercut is exactly what it is. It's an uppercut, you can actually charge this to deal even more damage, but in my opinion, I recommend not charging it because you actually get hit more often than not when you're trying to charge an attack against most players, especially if those players know what they're doing. Now we're moving on to my favorite ability in the game, Javelin Tackle. Now, Javelin Tackle does quite a bit of damage, but it also grabs the targets and moves you with the targets far away from any of the other targets that are fighting you. Now, I would highly recommend using this on rooftops because you deal even more damage. Basically, the further you travel with this, the more damage you do. I would definitely watch out around the waterfronts because you can actually tackle someone and go straight into the water, killing yourself. I would also highly recommend not doing this near corners because you can actually get stuck, getting you stuck and also the player that you just tackled. Now, luckily, you can usually get out of these, you just have to spam X a lot, and you usually do end up getting out. Yeah, this is kind of annoying, but I'm sure the developers will fix this really fast. Now let's move on to Super Sumo Slap. Now, Super Sumo Slap is really good, but at the same time it's kind of bad. Because if you're using this in a crowded environment, people will definitely sneak up on you and actually grab you from behind or just attack you from behind in general. I do actually like this move when there's a 1v1 situation, because you can basically keep pushing them out of the circle and they can't really do much against it, unless they block at the right time. But a lot of people don't want to block when they run into the circle for some reason. It's most likely because people are panicking, so they don't really think about blocking when they're trying to run back into the circle, even though you really should, because otherwise you're just gonna get knocked out anyway. Alright, now we are on to the blue books. I am only going to cover the blue books that are different. I'm not going to cover the blue books that are quite similar, because it's just kind of pointless. I'd literally just explained them. It's just a weaker version of them. It's basically small things like you won't be able to throw a target as far, or you won't be able to charge as much. Basically, just little things like that. But honestly, like, the blue books are really damn decent. Alright, now let's start off with Bad Breath. Now, with Bad Breath, you basically breathe in the opponent's face, dealing damage, and also dealing poison damage. There's also a green version of this, which actually doesn't deal poison damage. Now, the poison is kind of neat, but at the same time, I feel like just doing straight up normal damage is a lot better. Alright, now we move on to Atomic Punchline. Now, Atomic Punchline is pretty damn decent actually, because it has a bit of range and it deals quite a bit of damage. I quite like this ability because you basically just do a quick punch and then you're back into the fight. You can also use this ability to knock people off rooftops or even into the water. Alright, now we move on to Superkick. Now, Superkick is kind of just like the Punchline, except you are kicking. Now, same sort of thing as the Punchline, it's nice and fast, and the recovery time is also pretty damn decent. Alright, so Diamond Crusher and Emerald Crusher are actually a little bit different. I know they have the same image, but they do have different moves. So with this one, you actually pull the opponent back and slam him onto the ground, unlike the Diamond Crusher where you actually slam him straight into the ground. This is still really good and it still does a lot of damage, plus it gets you a little bit away from the fight if you are surrounded by a bunch of people. Now let's move on to Choke Slam. Now, Choke Slam is an ability where you grab the person's neck and you slam him straight into the ground. The higher you are, the more damage you do. I do really love this move, just for the look of it in general, but it's also pretty decent because you're able to use this move pretty damn quickly. Meaning if you quickly see someone block, you can immediately pop this off and give them a nice little choke slam. Now, the Great Azunu Drop is basically a move where you grab the character, you spin up into the air, and then you spin straight down into the air as well. It's quite similar to the ultimate ability that you can use as well, except this is like the lower level version of it basically. But anyway, that's really about it. The green books are basically the exact same as the blue and the purple books that I've showed you. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed that video, leave us a like, maybe subscribe. Up to you guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!